So I got great feedback from my Instagram story about pacing, so I'm just going to make this video about it. The feedback I got, one of my clients all the way down in Cork, Justine, thanks for the thumbs up. A girl called, I have it written up here, Kimberly Dawn from Nashville in the USA, so that was a great one. I'm back home to the Irish Shores for the national champion, Chris Mint, and he gave the thumbs up. So again, I just feel pacing is a big part of all sports. When you start to get serious about sports, you start just not thinking about completing a race and you want to pace it to get your overall best time. So what I'm going to try to cover today on the video and touch base on is what is pacing, how to read it and use it, and ultimately how to bring pacing from your training into your races. You'd be surprised how many people I get that come to me, especially runners probably just starting off running 5 or 10Ks that don't understand pacing. All they do is knock on the watch to start of the race, stop it, save it at the end of the race, and then that's their overall time. If they had a good 10K, for instance, in 60 minutes, they go out to try to do another 10K race and try to beat 60 minutes. So they're not actually using pacing per K. So again, breaking it down, what is pacing? So just for numerical advantage, just say for instance you wanted to run a 5K in 25 minutes. That means you have to run every K at 5-minute pace. So again, you're looking at your watch, you're trying to keep every K at 5 minutes. That means you're going to come across the finish line roughly about 5 minutes per K, and you're going to do the 5K race in 25 minutes. So as he said, it's understanding why you should pace as well. As he said, when you go racing, sometimes you can get excited and you can start fast and then end up burning out at the end. You want to enjoy your races, and they're only the smaller races. Pacing comes more into it the more you go longer distance and longer distance. Again, if you come to the half Ironman level or full Ironman level, that's when pacing really comes into it in all areas, in swimming, bike, running, and you actually pace your nutrition as well. So that's another thing we can look at with pacing. As you said, I touched on people just understanding pacing first. So with your home screen on your watch, just for instance, if you're pacing, usually on my home screen I have it on here, you have the time you're running at. So when you hit the watch, it'll give you your time that you're running, again the distance you're completing, and your pace down on my watch is down in the bottom left corner. So going back to that 5K in 25 minutes and you want to stay at 5 kilometers per K, you're running, your watch ends up finding 5K, 5 minutes per kilometer, and you're just trying to stay at that. If you end up running too fast in the first K, you'll see it drifting down to 450s, 445s, 440s. If you're running too slow, then you'll see it going from 5s to 510s to 520s. So again, it's important to try stay at the paces for the time that you want to come across the finish line at. As he said, as the distance goes further, this gives you the power then ultimately going into bigger races, knowing the law of average, what time you're roughly going to finish at, obviously if the circumstances go your way. Training with pacing. Why should you train with pacing? Well, it mixes it up. For me, training with paces mixes it up. If you're in triathlon training and you're just doing the same pace as swimming, cycling and running, it's going to get ultimately boring. So if you're going out and just doing a run at the same pace 2-3 times a week, if you're doing a bike at the same pace twice a week, if you're swimming at the same pace 2 or 3 times a week, you're just going to get pissed off. It's going to be boring. You're going to be looking at this, I have to do another swim, another bike. So for me, it's about occupying the mind and mixing it up and keeping it a little bit exciting. So again, if you're going out and saying, right, I have a fast run today, or a slow run today, or a recovery run, or an interval session. Same with swimming, you can have blocks where you go hard, you recover, and ultimately on the bike as well. Again, you'll be going to do 2 different paces, depending whether you're using speed or power. So for me, it mixes it up. Also, if you're not familiar with heart rate zones, by running at different paces, ultimately you're putting yourself into different heart rate zones. So heart rate is another video and another step down the line. But if you're out pacing a slow run, you're going to be in a low heart rate zone. If you're out and you're doing a fast run or an interval session or a sprint session, you're going to be into them higher heart rate zones. So without even knowing it, you're with pacing, you're bringing your heart rate zones into play. As he said, if you nail pacing, my advice would be to nail pacing first, and then you can look at heart rate zones down the line, and then you'll realise what paces got you into different heart rate zones that you were doing it already, but you didn't really know. As he said, with the pacing, you're not specifically staying in a certain heart rate zone, but you are going from lower heart rate zones to higher heart rate zones with different paces that you use. As he said, when you start training in different paces, you're ultimately going to get fitter and faster. So if you're just staying at the same pace in everything you do, you're not. It's going to take a long period of time to try get better at each individual sport, that's swimming, cycling or running. So you need to be training, find your paces, what pushing you, what's recovery and things like that. So you need to find your paces to ultimately get fitter and faster, as he says, and to occupy the mind. If you're just staying at the one pace in all three disciplines, you're just going to go out to do races and ultimately to complete them. You're just going to look to go out and just say, right, I want to complete that swim because I'm going at that same pace. I'm going to complete that cycle and I'm going to complete that run. So the ambition of just staying at the same pace or not using paces in your training and bringing it into your races, it makes your race just completion, because you won't know where you have to push to or your limit that you can't go past. So pacing is really good for that. In the run especially as well with pacing, I suppose everyone comes across pacing realistically starting off. Well, for me, in a personal point of view, I came from a soccer background and then I went into running. So me running is where I sort of learned paces with. And most people I feel that come to me will learn paces, how to pace from running. As he said, with that 5k example, if you want to do 5k in 25 minutes, you're looking to do every kilometre at 5-minute Ks. So there's a difference between your running speed and your triathlon speed. So what people make the mistake is, if they can do a half marathon in 1:30, if they can do a marathon in 3 hours, then they jump off the bike and they think that's the same sort of pace, the run half marathon pace. You need to find that in your running, what your triathlon pace is and what your normal running pace is. So for instance, me personally, my fastest marathon, I can hold 4 kilometers per hour, and my fastest Ironman marathon, I hold at 4:30. So again, there you see there's 30 seconds in the difference from my triathlon marathon to my Ironman marathon, and this gap can fluctuate. It can be bigger for different people, it can be shorter. So again, with pacing, you start to find this out, because if you're not doing pacing, you'll go into triathlon. If you are from a running background, you'll go into triathlon. If you just, for instance, pull the full Ironman out of the bag and you get off the bike and you'll think, right, I can run my same marathon time here. You can't. You have to do a lot more work in an Ironman distance with your swimming and your biking before you get off that bike to go running. So it's not just like lining up to do a normal run marathon. So as he said, hitting the sort of nail on the head, if you're training with paces, how do you train with pace on swimming? What we find is people that are new to triathlon or just age groupers very rarely have different swim paces. You can give them a block to do and they'll go out and they'll swim the warm-up block, the exact same as the hard block. And I've done it for years. So again, you're going in, you're just happy to be knowing how to swim, that you learned how to swim. You're really just nearly probably looking past the swim in the race because you just want to get onto the bike and the run, and you end up just swimming at the pace, the same pace for everything. So for instance, if you have a 200 metre warm-up or 2 100 metre warm-ups, that'll be the same pace as your 8 300 metres or your 15 fast 100 metres, where this is where you need to sort of work out your paces. What's your warm-up pace, what's your slow swim pace, what's your fast pace. Again, when you want to go hard in swimming, you go hard. This works then when you go back to racing on your shorter distances. So if you're doing sprinting Olympics, you're obviously going to be go out at a faster pace in swimming than you are if you're going to do probably a half Ironman or definitely a full Ironman. So you need to show out your swim paces. Jumping straight from training and swimming to racing, it's probably the hardest one to gauge your paces at. So on the bike, you have your bike computer. On the run, you have your watch. So with swimming, obviously, you're swimming away and it's hard to gauge your pace. For me, I don't pace me swim. When I go to especially the full Ironman distance, I just get in the water. I start off slow, find me stroke and get out of the water. And I just accept what my swim was. I know other swimmers can set their watches to beep every 500 metres or 1k and they take a quick glance under the water. But again, I wouldn't be that, me personally, I'm not that advanced in my swimming to be worrying about the swimming that much, to be checking am I on paces. I've never sort of looked at my watch after a K and says, right, I'm behind on this K, I need to pick it up or slow it down. So from what I've done for the last few races is actually leave me watch. So I just get in the water, swim your race, get out. You're going to get your overall swim time at the chip at the end. I learned that lesson from Dunleary about 3 years ago when we got in the water and I was looking for about a 33 to 31 minute swim, and I started swimming. Obviously got out of the water and I was at 41 and I couldn't believe how mentally it drained me. But we didn't know until the end of the race that the boy was at the floating out 200 or 300 metres. So everyone's swim was a bit too far. So for me personally, it's the hardest one to gauge, the swim pace. But you just find your levels in training, your warm-up pace, your hard blocks pace, your recovery pace, and this will ultimately pick up the numbers. I'm a 150 to 200 metre per 100 metre swim, so when I go into races I'm happy if I'm in around that. I'm faster in a wetsuit in the open water than I am in the pool, so maybe if I got 145 I'd be delighted in the full Ironman swim, or a 155, I'd be in around that range. When I come out of the water and ultimately my time is that per 100 metres, I'm happy enough with that. When you move on to bike, it depends whether you're working with speed or power. So again, I've done my first 2 Ironmans with speed, so I had no power. So you're ultimately looking just maybe to do the Ironman distance. I'll keep on referring to that, probably in a 6-hour cycle. So this is good in the one way, because you have to saving expenses and you're not going straight down the road to power meters. And I'd always advise get 2 or 3 years under your belt before you go power. But with speed, you could have a flat 30k and get your 30 kilometers per hour, and here you are, you're flying, you're thinking 6 hours for the full cycle, and then you hit a hilly section and you're trying to get 30 kilometers per hour in the second hour, and you're hitting hills and you're absolutely destroying yourself trying to get up hills and get off 30k for 2 hours. So ultimately, if you've done your first 30k, in an hour, and your second 30k you hit hills, and then you're coming across your second hour and you only have to hit 55k, you're doing your head in thinking, right, I have to pick it up here. So speed it's at the start, it has its benefits because you have to save money and you're just looking about completion, but down the line you want to work with power. So again, with power, you'll do your FTP test, you'll find your heart rate zones. On my bike computer, I don't even have speed. So with your FTP, you're making an equation that you're going to stay at this power for your 90k or your 180k, depending on the race, and you're just staying to that power, whether you're on a heart rate zone or whether you're on hills or you're on a flat. You're coming off that bike with power, feeling that you didn't push too hard on the legs just to hit a certain time, and you stayed to your normalised power through the whole race. On the run then section, in a race especially, this is where it comes into play. On your swim, you'll probably have the time you like. If you come 3-4 minutes before, you're delighted. If you're 3-4 minutes after, you're not that too disheartened. Again, on the bike, you're trying to think, right, if I got a 6-hour cycle, if you're on power, you're staying with it, you'll know roughly what time you'll come in at. If you're 10 minutes before or 10 minutes after, again, you're sort of happy. You knew roughly where you were going to be there. And anyway, but the run you can really nail. As you said earlier, you're going out and you're finding your paces, and with your running, you've probably done that from the start before you start pacing swims and bikes. So with your running, you could come in within 20 seconds of what you thought you were going to do your race run at. So you're really getting focused, looking at your watch. As you said, you're focusing, you're looking at the watch. You have more info coming from the watch than you probably do from the bike computer, because you're looking up, and definitely from the swim because you're underneath the water. And it's about finding your numbers from training and bringing it into the races. I feel when you start using your paces correctly, ultimately you go into races giving you the power of knowing probably what time you're going to get, rather than just thinking, oh, if I have a good swim or a good bike or a good run, I'll be happy here. But you're ultimately thinking, I'm going into that full Ironman distance here, hopefully getting a 10:30, a 9:30, an 11:30, a 12:30, and that brings focus into all 3 disciplines. That's saying that you have a good day. Anything in the way of a good day in triathlon, as we all know. It can be wind direction, it can be current in the sea, it can be sight in the water, it can be bad nutrition. So again, pace nutrition, as I said in the start, is a thing. So if you're pacing, especially on the bike, on your nutrition, you probably want to finish a 750ml bottle per hour. If you pick up, obviously you start your cycle, if you pick up your bottle and in hours are going by and you have a full bottle and you're trying to guzzle the whole yoke in 5 minutes to get it in the hour, you have to be in that red zone too long and burning yourself out. So you want to pace your nutrition, go out and train on the bike. Maybe it's up every 10 minutes, but the hour's gone, then you're probably finish the bottle, or roughly the bottle is nearly gone. It means you have to be putting the nutrition into your body equally over the hour. Same with running. If you need to take a gel every half an hour, if you need to take a gel every station, that works with you. So pacing comes into everything, into your training, ultimately into your racing, and even into nutrition. We'll end it on technology. Obviously you're using technology to pace, but it's only a good second opinion. If you feel good, you go for it. You'll probably blow up, but so what? Technology is a good second opinion. And remember, easy is an effort. In your training, when you're pacing, if you're running easy, that's still an effort. It doesn't always have to be push, push, push. So hopefully that nailed pacing on the head, and we can have this conversation a little bit more in the comments. Cheers for that.